You know, Charleston, South Carolina is a city that's full of surprises. One day, you're sipping sweet tea on your porch, basking in the warm sunshine, and the next, you're caught in a sudden downpour that seems to come out of nowhere. And yet, people are still moving in droves. Why? Because Charleston's weather is like everything else about this city. It's a mix of charm, unpredictability, and a little bit of mystery. Stick with me, because later we're going to talk about one thing that you'd never expect to happen here, and it might just change the way you think about this place. My name is Deneen Gary, the Southern Living Yankee, and a realtor in Charleston, South Carolina, and the surrounding areas. I specialize in helping people relocate to Charleston from out of state because I've been there myself. I know how exciting, but still overwhelming a big move can be, but I'm here to make it easier. Whether you're buying, selling, or simply exploring your options, I'll provide honest advice and expert guidance every step of the way. And if you're ready to start your journey, reach out today to find out how I can help you save $1,000 on your moving costs. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss tips on living your best life in Charleston and the rest of the Lowcountry. So let's dig into it. Charleston's weather is a lot like its culture, vivid, layered, and not afraid to keep you guessing. If you've ever wondered what it's like to live in a place where summer feels like an extended spa day, complete with steam room, you're in for a treat. But it's not just about the heat. Oh no, there is so much more. Let's start with the seasons, or as I like to call them, summer, kind of summer, surprise cold, and pollenpalooza. Summer is not for the faint of heart here. Picture this: temperatures soaring into the 90s, humidity so thick you could cut it with a knife, and a heat index that laughs in the face of your air conditioning. You walk outside and within 5 minutes, you're questioning every life choice that brought you to this moment. But here's the thing, you get used to it. Well, sort of. And if you're lucky, you'll learn the fine art of finding shade, staying hydrated, and timing your errands before noon and your runs at dawn. Now fall, or as we like to call it, summer part 2, is when Charleston starts to redeem itself. The temperatures dip into the 70s and 80s, and suddenly the air feels less like soup and more like a refreshing breeze. It's the time of year when people flock to the beaches. The festivals kick into high gear and locals start breaking out their light jackets, even if it's still 75 degrees, and I'm not even kidding. Let me tell you, Charleston in the fall is downright magical. The sunsets are vivid, the skies are clear, and there's just enough chill in the evening air to remind you that winter is on its way, eventually. And speaking of winter, I want to clear up a common misconception right now. Does it snow in Charleston? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The short answer is yes and no. Let me explain. Snow in Charleston is like a unicorn sighting. It's rare, it's fleeting, and when it happens, everyone loses their mind. The last significant snowfall was back in January of 2018. The city got about 5 inches of snow. At our house in Monk's Corner, we got about 8 inches. Schools closed, bridges shut down, and people who had never seen snow before were out building snowmen and making snow angels in their front yard. It was magical, chaotic, and utterly unforgettable. But most winters here, they're mild, with average highs in the 50s and 60s and lows in the 30s and 40s. You're more likely to see frost on your windshield than snow on the ground. But you know what? That's part of the charm. Now spring. Oh, spring. If there is one season that truly defines Charleston, it's this one, and it's my personal favorite. The azaleas bloom, the temperature hovers in that perfect range between 65 and 75 degrees, and the city comes alive with the sounds of birds chirping and sneezing. Yeah, spring in Charleston is beautiful, but it's also pollen season. If you have never experienced a true Charleston spring, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine waking up one morning to find your car covered in a fine layer of yellow dust. That's pollen, and it's everywhere. People walk around sniffling, sneezing, and clutching their allergy meds like they're a lifeline. But despite the pollen, spring is a time of renewal, growth, and an undeniable energy that makes you fall in love with Charleston all over again. Of course, one good rain knocks that pollen back for a good day to day and a half, and then it's back. And let's talk about the rain. Charleston's rainstorms are something to behold. They're quick, they're intense, and they often leave you wondering if you just witnessed a mini hurricane. I'm telling you, you can watch the rain approaching, and when you see that wall, you'd better head inside, and quick. And speaking of those hurricanes, let's talk about those for a minute. Hurricanes are a part of life in Charleston. They're not an everyday or even an every year occurrence, but when they do show up, they make their presence known. The official hurricane season is from June to November. This is definitely something that keeps everyone on their toes. Most years, it's just a lot of watching, waiting, and preparing. But every now and then, a storm rolls through that reminds you why Charleston's historic homes have stood the test of time. They are built to last. And you're also reminded why it's a good idea to have a good stock of bottled water in the garage. Now, here's the thing about Charleston weather that you might not expect. It's not just about the temperature, the rain, or even the occasional snow. It's about the way the weather shapes life here, the way it brings people together on porches, under live oak trees, and along the waterfront, the way it influences what we eat, what we wear, and how we plan our days. And yes, the way it sometimes frustrates us to no end. But that's just the beauty of it. Charleston's weather, like its people, is full of character. It's unpredictable, unforgettable, and utterly unique. So what's the takeaway here? If you're thinking about moving to Charleston, or if you're just curious about what it's like to live here, know this: the weather will keep you on your toes. It will challenge you, surprise you, and yes, sometimes even delight you. If you stick around, you'll find that it's not just the weather that makes Charleston special. It's the way the weather becomes a part of your story. A story that's as vibrant, layered, and unpredictable as the city itself. Oh, and that thing that I teased earlier, the one thing you'd never expect to happen here, well, it's this. In Charleston, you learn to embrace the unexpected. You learn to find joy in the rain, beauty in the heat, and yes, even excitement in the rare snowfall. And that, my friends, is the magic of Charleston weather. I'm Deneen Gary, the Southern Living Yankee, and a realtor in Charleston, South Carolina, and the surrounding areas. If you're ready to start your journey, reach out today to find out how I can help save you $1,000 on your moving costs. If you found value in this video, I'd love if you could give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss tips on living your best life in Charleston and the rest of the Lowcountry. Thank you for joining me. So long for today.